When Hong Kong businesses needed electrical power, China Light and Power was the only viable supplier with proven reliability and adequate capacity. The customer service innovations were equally important for establishing permanent competitive advantages. China Light and Power provided electrical installation, equipment maintenance, and technical support services that eliminated all barriers to electrical adoption while ensuring customer satisfaction that made switching to competitive suppliers economically irrational. The company's technician training programs produced electrical workers with skills that exceeded those available elsewhere in Asia. Their equipment maintenance services ensured that customer electrical systems operated more reliably and efficiently than those served by competitive suppliers. Their technical support included free consultation on electrical system design, energy efficiency, and equipment selection. Most importantly, China Light and Power's billing and customer service systems were designed for convenience and flexibility that made electrical service accessible to small businesses and residential customers rather than limiting service to major commercial operations. Flexible payment terms, budget billing options, and rapid service connection eliminated economic barriers to electrical adoption. The regulatory strategy was perhaps most crucial for achieving permanent monopoly status. Lawrence Kaduri understood that utility regulation was inevitable as Hong Kong's government became more sophisticated, but he positioned China Light and Power to benefit from regulation rather than being constrained by it. The company's approach involved voluntary adoption of service standards, safety protocols, and reliability requirements that exceeded governmental regulations while establishing technical and operational capabilities that would be extremely difficult for potential competitors to match. When Hong Kong authorities did implement utility regulation, China Light and Power was already operating at standards that made competitive licensing virtually impossible. The company also developed cooperative relationships with Hong Kong's government that provided mutual benefits while ensuring political support for their monopoly position. China Light and Power provided electrical infrastructure for government facilities at favorable rates, while consulting on electrification planning that served public interests and company commercial objectives. During World War II, China Light and Power's strategic value became obvious to every political faction that controlled Hong Kong territory. The Japanese occupation authorities protected company operations because electrical infrastructure was essential for military activities and civilian administration. Chinese Communist forces refrained from sabotaging electrical facilities because power disruption would harm civilian populations. British colonial authorities prioritized restoration of electrical service because economic recovery depended on reliable power supply. The wartime experience demonstrated that China Light and Power had achieved infrastructure status that transcended normal political divisions because all governmental authorities needed electrical power regardless of their ideological differences or territorial ambitions. The company had become too essential to be eliminated or significantly constrained by any political authority. Post-war expansion demonstrated how effectively the Kaduri brothers had positioned China Light and Power to benefit from Hong Kong's economic development. As the colony emerged as Asia's dominant financial and commercial center, demand for electrical power increased exponentially, while China Light and Power's monopoly position ensured that all increased demand generated additional profits. The company's expansion during the 1950s and 1960s involved systematic territory acquisition and capacity development that extended their monopoly throughout Hong Kong while establishing technical capabilities that could serve much larger markets. Generating capacity increased from 100 megawatts in 1950 to over 1,000 megawatts by 1970, while service territory expanded to cover virtually all of Hong Kong and the new territories. But the most sophisticated achievement was financial engineering that enabled massive expansion without diluting family control or requiring governmental financing. China Light and Power issued bonds and attracted international investment while maintaining Kaduri Family management control and ensuring that expansion profits accrued primarily to family shareholders. The financing strategies involved complex arrangements with international banks, insurance companies, and pension funds that provided capital for infrastructure development while offering investors stable returns backed by Hong Kong's economic growth and China Light and Power's monopoly position. These arrangements were structured to ensure that external investors received predetermined returns while capital appreciation and operational control remained under Kaduri family management. The company could access unlimited capital for expansion while maintaining strategic independence and family wealth accumulation. The technical innovations implemented by China Light and Power established operational efficiencies that became industry benchmarks worldwide. The company's power generation facilities achieved thermal efficiency rates that exceeded international standards while maintaining reliability records that surpassed those of utilities in much wealthier countries. The distribution system innovations were equally impressive. China and Power developed underground distribution networks that eliminated power outages during typhoons while reducing maintenance costs and improving service reliability. Their electrical grid management systems achieved loss rates below 3%, among the lowest in the world. Most importantly, the company's load set management and demand forecasting capabilities enabled precise capacity planning that minimized capital requirements while ensuring adequate power supply during peak demand periods. These capabilities required sophisticated mathematical modeling and computer systems that gave China Light and Power technical advantages over potential competitors. By 1980, China Light and Power had achieved operating margins exceeding 15% while serving one of the world's most demanding electrical markets. The company's technical capabilities, customer relationships, and regulatory position created barriers to competitive entry that were virtually insurmountable. The financial results were extraordinary for Kaduri Family wealth accumulation. China Light and Power generated annual profits exceeding 1 billion Hong Kong dollars by 1980, while providing dividend returns that consistently exceeded those available from other Hong Kong investments. The company's stock value increased by over 2,000% between 1945 and 1980, making it one of the most successful investments in Asian financial markets. But the real strategic value was in demonstrating how infrastructure control could provide permanent competitive advantages that became more valuable as served territories became more prosperous. The Kaduri family had discovered how to build business empires that benefited automatically from economic development while remaining essential to continued prosperity. The China Light and Power model would influence Kaduri family investments across multiple business sectors, while establishing principles for infrastructure development that continue generating extraordinary returns today. They had proven that patient capital investment in essential services could create business empires that transcended individual political systems, while generating wealth that accumulated across multiple generations. The power empire wasn't just about electricity. It was about understanding how to build businesses that became more essential. Over time, while creating permanent competitive advantages that no political authority could eliminate without harming their own interests. Chapter 5. Hotel Kingdom. The Peninsula Hong Kong, which opened in 1928, wasn't just another luxury hotel. It was the foundation of what would become the world's most prestigious hotel empire and a masterclass in how to build brand value that transcends economic cycles, political upheavals, and competitive pressures. When the Kaduri family decided to enter the hospitality business, they faced established competition from international hotel chains and local operators who already served Hong Kong's growing business and tourism markets. But Lawrence and Horace Kaduri recognized that luxury hospitality represented something more strategic than conventional business competition. It was an opportunity to create institutional relationships with the most powerful and influential people in Asia. The Peninsula concept reflected sophisticated understanding of how business networks function at the highest levels of international commerce and politics. By creating a hotel that attracted world leaders, major business executives, and cultural celebrities, the Kaduris could develop personal relationships that would provide competitive advantages across all their business interests. The location choice demonstrated this strategic thinking clearly. Rather than building in Hong Kong's established commercial district, the peninsula was constructed in Tsim Sha Tsui Kowloon, adjacent to the Starferry terminal that connected Kowloon to Hong Kong Island. This position made the hotel the natural arrival point for international visitors, while establishing a presence in territory that was positioned for future development. But the real innovation was in service standards that exceeded anything available in Asia, while incorporating cultural elements that appealed to both Western and Asian guests. The peninsula's service philosophy combined European luxury hotel traditions with Asian hospitality customs in ways that created unique experiences for international travelers. The staff training programs developed by the peninsula became industry benchmarks for luxury hospitality. Every employee received extensive training in multiple languages, cultural sensitivity, and service techniques that enabled personalized attention for guests from diverse cultural backgrounds. The hotel's concierge services provided access to business, cultural, and social opportunities throughout Asia. Most importantly, the peninsula's guest relationships were managed as long-term strategic assets rather than transactional customer interactions. Regular guests received personalized service that addressed their specific preferences, business requirements, and social interests. The hotel maintained detailed records of guest preferences and provided services that created emotional connections extending far beyond commercial transactions. The Rolls-Royce fleet represented the perfect symbol of Peninsula's approach to luxury hospitality. The hotel's fleet of green Rolls-Royce vehicles provided transportation services that were both practical and symbolic. Guests received convenient, comfortable transportation while being associated with visible symbols of prestige and exclusivity. But the fleet also served business intelligence functions for the Kaduri family. Drivers were trained to provide information about guests' business activities, social connections, and commercial interests. The transportation services created opportunities for informal conversations that provided insights into Asian business conditions, political developments, and investment opportunities. The guest list that developed during the peninsula's first decades reads like a who's who of 20th century world leadership. Every American president, British prime minister, and major European leader who visited Asia stayed at the peninsula. Business leaders, including the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, and major Asian industrialists, were regular guests. Hollywood celebrities, international artists, and cultural figures used the peninsula as their Asian headquarters. These relationships provided the Kaduri family with unprecedented access to information, investment opportunities, and political influence that would have been impossible to achieve through conventional business operations. Casual conversations with guests generated insights into international economic trends, political developments, and commercial opportunities that enabled superior decision-making across all Kaduri business interests. The expansion of Peninsula Hotels during the 1960s and 1970s demonstrated how effectively the family had learned to leverage hospitality relationships for broader business development. New Peninsula properties in Bangkok, Manila, Beijing, and other major Asian cities provided platforms for expanding Kaduri business interests while extending their network of influential relationships. Each new Peninsula property was positioned to serve the most important business and political leaders in its respective market while maintaining service standards that ensured guest satisfaction and loyalty. The expansion strategy prioritized strategic locations over immediate profitability, recognizing that hotel operations could generate value through relationship development that extended far beyond room revenues. The Bangkok Peninsula, which opened in 1998, exemplified this approach. Thailand was experiencing rapid economic development and political transformation that created opportunities for foreign investors who could navigate complex regulatory environments and cultural relationships. The peninsula provided the Kaduri family with a platform for building relationships with Thai political leaders, business executives, and international investors who were participating in Thailand's economic development. Similarly, the Beijing Peninsula, which opened in 1989, positioned the Kaduri family to participate in China's economic opening while maintaining relationships with Chinese political leaders who would determine foreign investment opportunities. The hotel's location near diplomatic and commercial districts ensured that guests included key decision-makers in Chinese economic policy. The Peninsula New York, which opened in 1988, represented the family's expansion into Western markets while maintaining Asian cultural prowl, elements that distinguished Peninsula properties from American and European luxury hotels. The New York property provided access to American financial markets and business networks, while serving as a showcase for Asian luxury hospitality standards. But the most strategic value of hotel expansion was in creating global platforms for family business interests that extended far beyond hospitality operations. Peninsula properties provided venues for business meetings, investment discussions, and relationship development that supported Kaduri interests in real estate, finance, infrastructure, and other business sectors. The hotel operations also provided intelligence networks that generated information about economic conditions, political developments, and commercial opportunities across multiple regions. Guest relationships staff networks, and business operations created access to information that would have been extremely expensive to obtain through conventional intelligence gathering. Financial performance demonstrated how effectively the Peninsula brand had been positioned for long-term value creation rather than immediate profit maximization. Peninsula properties typically achieved occupancy rates exceeding 80% while maintaining average room rates that were among the highest in their respective markets. But the real value was in brand equity that enabled premium pricing and customer loyalty that was virtually immune to competitive pressure. Peninsula guests typically remained loyal to the brand for decades while recommending properties to business associates and family members. The emotional connections created through superior service generated customer relationships that were essentially permanent. The Peninsula's resilience during economic downturns and political crisis demonstrated the defensive characteristics of luxury brand positioning. During the Asian financial crisis of 1997, Peninsula properties maintained occupancy and pricing while competitors faced significant declines. During political upheavals and security concerns, Peninsula guests trusted the brand's safety and service standards more than local alternatives. Investment returns reflected the brand's exceptional performance characteristics. Peninsula Hotels generated consistent profitability while property values appreciated substantially over time. The combination of operational profits and capital appreciation provided total returns that exceeded those available from most other hospitality investments. But the strategic value extended beyond financial returns to influence and access that enabled superior performance across the entire Kaduri business portfolio. Hotel relationships provided investment opportunities, regulatory information, and political access that enhanced returns from real estate, infrastructure, and financial services operations. The hotel kingdom represented something unprecedented in Asian business, a family enterprise that created permanent competitive advantages through relationship development rather than product differentiation or cost advantages. The Kaduri family had discovered how to build businesses that became more valuable through customer loyalty and brand recognition that accumulated over generations rather than declining through competitive pressure. The Peninsula model would influence luxury hospitality worldwide while establishing principles for relationship-based business development that continue generating extraordinary returns today. The hotel kingdom wasn't just about hospitality. It was about understanding how to create institutional value through personal relationships that transcend individual transactions while creating permanent competitive advantages. Chapter 6. War Survival. December 25, 1941, Christmas Day, marked the fall of Hong Kong to Japanese forces and the beginning of the greatest test the Kaduri family would face in their 140-year business history. The Japanese occupation would destroy most European businesses in Hong Kong while testing whether the Kaduri Empire could survive military conquest, systematic persecution, and the complete collapse of the legal and commercial systems that had enabled their success. The attack on Hong Kong began December 8, 1941, one day after Pearl Harbor, when Japanese forces launched coordinated assaults on British positions throughout the colony. Within 18 days, vastly superior Japanese military forces had overwhelmed British defenses and established complete control over Hong Kong territory. For the Kaduri family, the Japanese occupation represented an existential crisis that threatened to eliminate 40 years of business development, while endangering their personal safety as prominent Jewish business leaders in territory controlled by Germany's military ally. Japanese authorities implemented systematic persecution policies targeting British nationals, prominent Chinese merchants, and Jewish populations. But the war years would demonstrate the resilience of business empires built on essential infrastructure and relationships rather than purely financial assets. The Kaduri survival strategy reflected sophisticated understanding of how to maintain business continuity under conditions that destroyed most other commercial operations. Lawrence and Horace Kaduri had anticipated the possibility of Japanese invasion and implemented contingency plans that protected core family assets while maintaining operational control over essential business infrastructure. Unlike many other Hong Kong business leaders who fled to safer territories, the Kaduri brothers remained in Hong Kong to protect their operations directly. The decision to stay required extraordinary courage because Japanese authorities viewed prominent Jewish business leaders as potential security threats who might support Allied resistance activities. The Kaduri family faced constant surveillance, movement restrictions, and the possibility of arrest and internment that would eliminate their ability to influence business operations. China Light and Power presented both the greatest risk and the most important opportunity during the occupation. Electrical infrastructure was essential for Japanese military operations and civilian administration, making the company valuable to occupation authorities. But Japanese control also meant that company management faced demands for cooperation that could compromise their positions with Allied authorities after the war. The Kaduri approach involved maintaining technical control over China Light and Power operations while providing necessary cooperation with Japanese authorities without compromising their long-term strategic positions. They positioned themselves as technical specialists who were essential for maintaining electrical service rather than as political collaborators who supported Japanese policies. Japanese authorities needed China Light and Power's generating capacity and distribution networks to maintain essential services for military facilities and civilian populations. The company's technical expertise was irreplaceable. Japanese engineers lacked detailed knowledge of Hong Kong's electrical infrastructure, while Chinese technical staff required supervision and coordination that only company management could provide. This mutual dependency created opportunities for the Kaduri family to maintain influence over company operations while ensuring that critical infrastructure remained operational throughout the occupation. They could protect their business interests while providing services that were genuinely necessary for civilian welfare. The strategy required careful navigation of competing demands from Japanese authorities who wanted maximum electrical output for military purposes and local Chinese populations who needed power for basic living requirements. The Kaduri brothers positioned themselves as technical administrators who could optimize electrical service for all users rather than partisan advocates for any particular political interest. Peninsula hotel operations faced different challenges because luxury hospitality wasn't essential for Japanese military objectives. While the property represented valuable real estate that occupation authorities might requisition for alternative uses, the hotel's prominent location and superior facilities made it an obvious target for conversion to military headquarters, barracks, or administrative offices. The solution involved convincing Japanese authorities that continued hotel operations served their interests better than property conversion. The peninsula could provide luxury accommodations for Japanese officials, meeting facilities for administrative functions, and prestigious venues for diplomatic activities that enhanced Japanese authority while maintaining hotel staff employment. The arrangement enabled the peninsula to continue operating while generating revenue that could support staff, salaries, and property maintenance during a period when tourism and business travel were virtually eliminated. More importantly, hotel operations provided cover for maintaining relationships and gathering information that would prove valuable for post-war recovery. Financial survival required sophisticated strategies for protecting accumulated wealth while maintaining liquidity for operational expenses and post-war reconstruction. The Kaduri family couldn't rely on Hong Kong banks, which were under Japanese control, or international financial institutions, which were inaccessible during wartime. The solution involved diversifying financial assets across multiple currencies, jurisdictions, and investment vehicles that provided protection against currency devaluation, asset confiscation, and political instability. Gold, precious stones, and other portable assets provided value preservation that was independent of any particular political system. But the most important survival strategy involved maintaining relationships with Chinese business leaders, British officials, and American representatives who would determine post-war reconstruction policies and business opportunities. These relationships required careful cultivation during the occupation while avoiding compromising political positions. The Kaduri family used their business operations to provide services and assistance to diverse political networks without expressing explicit political loyalties that might create problems with any post-war authority. They maintained contact with Chinese resistance groups, British intelligence networks, and American business interests while avoiding activities that would provoke Japanese retaliation. Staff management during the occupation demonstrated the value of employee loyalty. Relationships that the Kaduri family had developed over decades of superior employment practices. China Light and Power and Peninsula Hotel employees remained loyal to company management despite Japanese pressure and economic hardships that might have encouraged defection to competing employers. Employee loyalty provided crucial advantages for maintaining business continuity and protecting company assets during a period when formal legal protections were non-existent. Loyal staff members protected facilities against sabotage, theft, and unauthorized appropriation, while maintaining technical capabilities that enabled rapid post-war recovery. The liberation of Hong Kong in August 1945 created immediate opportunities for business leaders who had maintained operational capabilities and strategic relationships during the occupation. While many pre-war businesses had been eliminated or severely damaged, the Kaduri family was positioned to participate in reconstruction activities while expanding their market share. China Lightite and Pease infrastructure had been maintained in operating condition throughout the war, enabling immediate resumption of full electrical service while competitors struggled to restore damaged facilities. The company's technical capabilities and customer relationships provided decisive advantages for capturing increased market share during the post-war economic recovery. Peninsula Hotels' rapid return to luxury service standards enabled immediate resumption of operations, while establishing the property as Hong Kong's premier venue for post-war business and diplomatic activities. The hotel's wartime maintenance and staff retention provided service capabilities that exceeded those of damaged competitors. Most importantly, the Kaduri family's wartime relationship management provided access to reconstruction financing, business opportunities, and political influence that enabled rapid expansion during Hong Kong's post-war economic boom. Their survival strategies had not only preserved existing business operations but positioned them for accelerated growth during the 1950s and 1960s. The war experience established crucial precedents for business survival during political transitions that would influence Kaduri family strategy for generations. They had demonstrated that infrastructure businesses with superior management and employee relationships could survive even extreme political disruptions while emerging stronger than competitors who lacked these advantages. The survival lessons learned during Japanese occupation would prove equally valuable during subsequent political transitions, including Chinese Civil War, British decolonization, and Hong Kong's return to Chinese sovereignty. The Kaduri family had discovered how to build business empires that could thrive, regardless of which political authority controlled their operating territories. Chapter 7. Colonial Rebuilding. The decade following World War II represented the greatest expansion period in Kaduri family history. As Hong Kong transformed from war-damaged colonial outpost into Asia's dominant financial and commercial center, the family's wartime survival strategies positioned them perfectly to capitalize on reconstruction opportunities. While Hong Kong evolved into the gateway between China and the global economy, Hong Kong's strategic position became extraordinarily valuable as the Chinese Civil War created millions of refugees who brought capital, skills, and business networks to the British colony. Shanghai's commercial elite relocated their operations to Hong Kong, as communist forces gained control over mainland China, creating unprecedented opportunities for established Hong Kong businesses that could provide services to displaced Chinese entrepreneurs. Lawrence and Horace Kaduri recognized immediately that Chinese refugee capital would drive Hong Kong's economic transformation while creating demand for infrastructure, financial services, and real estate development that would benefit every aspect of their business empire. Their response demonstrated strategic thinking that distinguished successful Hong Kong families from those who failed to capitalize on post-war opportunities. China Light and Power's expansion during the 1950s exemplified this approach. Hong Kong's population increased from 600,000 in 1945 to over 2 million by 1955, with most new residents concentrated in urban areas that required electrical power for residential and commercial use. The company's wartime infrastructure preservation enabled immediate service expansion without the delays that would have been necessary if generating capacity and distribution networks had been damaged. But the real strategic advantage came from anticipating demand growth and building capacity ahead of requirements. China Light and Power invested heavily in new generating stations and expanded distribution networks throughout Kowloon and the new territories during the early 1950s, when other utility companies were still focused on restoring pre-war service levels. This expansion strategy required substantial capital investment that reduced short-term profits, but created monopolistic advantages that became extraordinarily valuable as Hong Kong's economy expanded. By 1960, China Light and Power controlled over 70% of Hong Kong's electrical market, while generating operating margins that exceeded 20%. The financial engineering behind this expansion demonstrated sophisticated understanding of how infrastructure development could attract international investment while maintaining family control over strategic operations. China Light and Power issued bonds to international investors while structuring the financing to ensure that Kaduri Family Management retained operational control and benefited from capital appreciation. Real estate development during the Reconstruction period reflected equally sophisticated strategic thinking about how Hong Kong's geography and political status would influence property values over decades rather than years. The Kaduri family acquired substantial property holdings throughout Hong Kong Island, Kowloon, and the New Territories, while developing projects that served both Chinese refugees and expanding international business operations. The development strategy emphasized mixed-use projects that combined residential, commercial, and office space in integrated complexes that could generate diverse revenue streams while appreciating in value through Hong Kong's economic growth. These developments required navigation of complex British colonial regulations and Chinese community relationships while securing financing that enabled construction without diluting family ownership. Notable projects included residential developments in mid-levels and commercial complexes in Central District that established the Kaduri family as major players in Hong Kong real estate while providing premium housing and office space for the expanding expatriate and affluent Chinese communities. But the most strategic acquisitions involve land purchases in areas that would benefit from future infrastructure development and urban expansion. The Kaduri family acquired property in regions that were undervalued because of their distance from established commercial centers, but would become extremely valuable as Hong Kong's urban development expanded into previously undeveloped territories. Financial services expansion reflected the family's recognition that Hong Kong was becoming Asia's dominant financial center, while Chinese refugees brought substantial capital that required sophisticated banking and investment services. The Kaduri approach to financial services emphasized relationship banking that served both established Hong Kong business communities and newly arrived Chinese entrepreneurs. These financial operations provided merchant banking services, international trade financing, and investment management that enabled Chinese refugees to re-establish business operations while providing established Hong Kong businesses with capital for expansion and development. The services required sophisticated understanding of both British banking regulations and Chinese commercial practices. The strategic value extended beyond immediate profits to intelligence gathering and relationship development that provided competitive advantages across all Kaduri business interests. Banking relationships generated detailed information about economic opportunities, commercial trends, and investment possibilities that enabled superior decision-making in real estate infrastructure and hospitality operations. Peninsula Hotels' expansion during the 1950s demonstrated how the family leveraged their hospitality expertise for broader business development throughout Asia. While Hong Kong remained the flagship property, new peninsula developments in other major Asian cities provided platforms for expanding Kaduri business interests across the region. The Bangkok Peninsula, developed during the early 1960s, positioned the family to participate in Thailand's economic development while building relationships with Thai political leaders and business executives who controlled access to major investment opportunities. The hotel operations provided venues for business meetings and cultural events that enhanced Kaduri influence in Thai commercial networks. Similar strategies were implemented in Manila, Singapore, and other regional centers, where peninsula properties provided both operational profits and strategic platforms for broader business development. Each new hotel was positioned to serve the most influential political and business leaders in its market while maintaining peninsula service standards that ensured customer loyalty and brand recognition. The integration of infrastructure, real estate, financial services, and hospitality operations created synergistic advantages that enabled each business sector to support and enhance the others during Hong Kong's rapid economic expansion. Electrical infrastructure increased property values. Real estate development created demand for additional electrical capacity. Financial services provided capital for expansion. Hotels operations provided relationship development opportunities. By 1965, the Kaduri family controlled business operations that generated annual revenues exceeding $8,500 million while employing over 10,000 people throughout Asia. The diversified structure provided growth opportunities and risk reduction, while establishing the family as one of Hong Kong's most influential business dynasties. But the most important achievement was establishing business models that could continue generating value, regardless of Hong Kong's long-term political status. As British colonial rule faced growing international pressure and Chinese influence increased, the Kaduri family was positioning their operations to thrive under any political arrangement that might govern Hong Kong's future. The Reconstruction period had demonstrated that infrastructure control, real estate ownership, and relationship development provided permanent competitive advantages that transcended individual political systems. The Kaduri family had discovered how to build business empires that became more valuable. As Hong Kong became more prosperous, while remaining essential for continued economic development, the success during colonial rebuilding established foundations for even greater achievements during Hong Kong's emergence as a global financial center and eventual transition to Chinese sovereignty. The Kaduri Empire had proven its resilience and adaptability while building institutional advantages that would enable continued dominance for generations. Chapter 8. China Transition. The announcement of Hong Kong's return to Chinese sovereignty sent shockwaves through the international business community in 1984. But, for the Kaduri family, it represented an opportunity to demonstrate once again their extraordinary ability to thrive during political transitions that destroyed other business empires. Their approach to managing the handover would establish templates for multinational business operations under Chinese rule. When Margaret Thatcher and Deng Xiaoping signed the Sino-British Joint Declaration in 1984, establishing that Hong Kong would return to China in 1997 under the One Country, Two Systems framework, most international businesses began developing exit strategies or defensive positions that would protect their investments from political risks. The Kaduri family chose a radically different approach. They increased their investments in Hong Kong while building relationships with Chinese authorities. That would enable expanded operations under Chinese sovereignty rather than defensive survival strategies. Their analysis concluded that Hong Kong's return to China would enhance rather than threaten their business opportunities. This strategic decision reflected sophisticated understanding of Chinese economic development, priorities, and the practical requirements for maintaining Hong Kong's role as Asia's dominant financial center. Chinese leaders needed Hong Kong to remain prosperous and internationally connected to serve broader Chinese economic objectives, making it economically irrational to implement policies that would damage Hong Kong's competitive advantages. Michael Kaduri, representing the family's fourth generation, led the transition strategy with systematic relationship building with Chinese political leaders, business executives, and academic institutions that would influence Hong Kong policy after 1997. Rather than viewing Chinese authority as a threat to be managed, the family positioned themselves as valuable partners for Chinese development objectives. The relationship development involved extensive travel to Beijing, Shanghai, and other major Chinese cities where Michael Kaduri participated in economic conferences, cultural events, and policy discussions that demonstrated family commitment to Hong Kong's success under Chinese sovereignty. These activities required careful navigation of political sensitivities while building trust with Chinese leaders who were skeptical of foreign business intentions. China Light and Peace expansion during the transition period exemplified the family's confidence in Hong Kong's future while demonstrating their ability to anticipate infrastructure requirements under Chinese rule. The company invested billions of Hong Kong dollars in new generating capacity and distribution infrastructure during the 1980s and 1990s, when many other businesses were reducing their Hong Kong commitments. The expansion strategy involved building power generation facilities that could serve not only Hong Kong, but also adjacent areas of Guangdong province, positioning China Light and Power to participate in China's economic development while strengthening Hong Kong's role as a regional infrastructure center. This required extensive negotiations with Chinese authorities and joint venture arrangements with Chinese power companies. But the most strategic achievement was securing regulatory arrangements that protected China and P's monopolistic advantages while ensuring continued profitability under Chinese authority. The company negotiated scheme of control agreements with Hong Kong authorities that guaranteed reasonable returns on investment while maintaining operational independence that would continue after 1997. Peninsula Hotels' expansion into mainland China demonstrated how the family leveraged their hospitality expertise for business development under Chinese authority while maintaining international brand standards that attracted global clientele. The Peninsula Beijing, which opened in 1989, became the family's flagship property for demonstrating successful operation under Chinese sovereignty. The Beijing property required extensive negotiations with Chinese authorities and joint venture arrangements with Chinese partners, but the peninsula's international reputation and service standards enabled them to attract Chinese political leaders, international diplomats and business executives who needed luxury accommodations that met global standards. The success of Peninsula Beijing provided credibility for subsequent expansion throughout China, while demonstrating the family's ability to operate successfully under Chinese regulatory frameworks. Additional peninsula properties in Shanghai, Tokyo, and other Asian cities established a regional network that served both Chinese development and international business requirements. Real estate investment during the transition period reflected the family's confidence in Hong Kong property values, while positioning them to benefit from increased economic integration with mainland China. Rather than selling Hong Kong properties to avoid political risks, the Kaduri family acquired additional real estate throughout Hong Kong while developing projects that served both local and international markets. The real estate strategy emphasized properties that would benefit from Hong Kong's enhanced role as China's international gateway, while providing services to mainland Chinese businesses and investors who needed Hong Kong operations. Office developments in Central District attracted Chinese financial institutions, while residential projects in premium areas served Chinese executives who relocated to Hong Kong. Financial services during the transition demonstrated how the family adapted their banking and investment operations to serve Chinese development while maintaining international standards that attracted global capital. Their financial institutions provided services to Chinese companies seeking international investment while helping Hong Kong businesses expand into mainland markets. The approach involved developing expertise in Chinese commercial law, regulatory requirements and business practices, while maintaining relationships with international financial institutions that provided capital and services to Chinese operations. This dual capability enabled the family to serve as intermediaries between Chinese and international business communities. Cultural and philanthropic activities during the transition period established the family's commitment to Hong Kong's long-term prosperity, while building relationships with diverse community groups that would influence Hong Kong's development under Chinese sovereignty. The Kaduri family's charitable foundation supported educational institutions, cultural organizations, and environmental conservation projects that demonstrated their investment in Hong Kong's future. These activities provided opportunities for relationship development with Chinese leaders while establishing the family's reputation as responsible corporate citizens who contributed to Hong Kong's social and cultural development rather than simply extracting profits for external destinations. The 1997 handover itself proceeded smoothly for Kaduri family operations, validating their assessment that Chinese authority would enhance rather than threaten their business opportunities. China Light and Power continued operating under existing regulatory frameworks while expanding its mainland operations. Peninsula Hotels maintained international service standards while attracting increased Chinese clientele. Post-handover expansion demonstrated how effectively the family had positioned themselves to benefit from Hong Kong's enhanced integration with mainland China while maintaining the international connections that made Hong Kong valuable to Chinese development objectives. Their business operations expanded in both scope and profitability while serving Chinese economic development and international business requirements. The transition experience established the Kaduri family as one of the most successful examples while maintaining operational independence and continued growth. Their success influenced other multinational corporations' approaches to Chinese operations while parallel, demonstrating that political transitions could create opportunities rather than just risks for well-positioned businesses. By 2000, Kaduri family businesses generated annual revenues exceeding HKD 20 billion while employing over 30,000 people throughout Asia. The successful navigation of Hong Kong's return to Chinese sovereignty had validated their long-term strategic approach while positioning them for continued expansion during the 21st century. The China transition had proven once again that infrastructure control, relationship development, and political adaptation enabled business empires to thrive during periods of fundamental change while creating new opportunities for expansion and development. The Kaduri family had demonstrated their mastery of political transition management, while building foundations for continued success under any future political arrangements. Chapter 9. Modern Legacy. Today, the Kaduri family controls a business empire worth over 12 billion while maintaining influence over Hong Kong's economy that extends far beyond their formal business holdings. Their success over 140 years represents one of the most remarkable examples of sustained wealth creation and political adaptation in modern business history. China Light and Power remains the crown jewel of Kaduri operations, generating annual revenues exceeding 50 billion Hong Kong dollars while serving 2.5 million customers throughout Hong Kong and southern China. The company maintains monopolistic control over Hong Kong's electrical infrastructure while expanding operations throughout Asia in partnership with regional governments and international development agencies. The technical achievements of China Light and Power continue setting global standards for utility efficiency, environmental protection, and customer service excellence. The company's generating facilities achieve thermal efficiency rates exceeding 90% while maintaining reliability records that surpass those of utilities in much wealthier countries. Their carbon reduction programs have eliminated millions of tons of greenhouse gas emissions while maintaining economic competitiveness. But the most remarkable achievement is sustained profitability that has provided consistent dividend returns to Kaduri family shareholders for over a century. China Light and P's operating margins consistently exceed 15% while generating cash flows that enable continuous infrastructure improvement and expansion without requiring external financing. Peninsula Hotels has evolved into the world's most prestigious luxury hotel brand, while maintaining family control over strategic operations and expansion decisions. The company operates properties in major cities worldwide while commanding premium pricing that consistently exceeds competitive alternatives. The Peninsula's guest services continue setting industry standards for luxury hospitality while creating customer loyalty that spans multiple generations of families and business organizations. Regular Peninsula guests typically remain loyal to the brand for decades, while providing word-of-mouth marketing that generates additional customers without conventional advertising expenditures. Recent Peninsula openings in London, Paris, Istanbul, and other major international cities demonstrate the brand's global expansion while maintaining service standards that distinguish Peninsula properties from other luxury hotel operators. Each new property is positioned to serve the most influential political and business leaders in its market while contributing to the Peninsula's reputation for excellence. The financial performance demonstrates how effectively the Peninsula brand commands premium pricing while maintaining occupancy rates that exceed industry averages. Peninsula properties typically achieve average daily rates that are 20 to 30% higher than competitive alternatives while maintaining occupancy rates above 85%. Real estate operations continue generating substantial returns through property development and investment management that leverages the family's detailed knowledge set of Asian markets and development patterns. Kaduri real estate holdings include some of Hong Kong's most valuable properties while expanding throughout Asia and internationally. The real estate strategy emphasizes long-term value creation through infrastructure development, urban planning, participation, and strategic property acquisition that benefits from economic development and population growth. Properties are typically held for decades while generating rental income and capital appreciation that compounds over time. Recent developments include mixed-use complexes that combine residential, commercial, and office space in integrated projects that serve diverse market segments while maximizing land utilization and development returns. These projects require sophisticated financing and regulatory navigation while generating diversified revenue streams. Venture capital and technology investments represent the family's newest business sector, reflecting recognition that technological innovation will determine future economic opportunities while creating new requirements for infrastructure development and business services. The Kaduri investment approach emphasizes early-stage companies developing technologies that enhance infrastructure efficiency, environmental sustainability, and customer service excellence. Investment decisions reflect understanding that technological innovation can create permanent competitive advantages while generating substantial returns for patient capital providers. Recent investments include renewable energy companies, smart city technologies, and hospitality automation systems that align with existing Kaduri business interests while providing exposure to high-growth technology sectors. The approach combines strategic integration with financial returns while maintaining family control over investment decisions. Philanthropic activities continue expanding through the Kaduri Family foundations that support educational institutions, environmental conservation projects, and cultural organizations throughout Asia. These activities reflect family commitment to social responsibility while building relationships that enhance their business operations and community standing. The Kaduri Farm and Botanic Garden represents the family's most visible philanthropic achievement, providing environmental education and conservation services while conducting research that contributes to regional environmental protection. The facility attracts hundreds of thousands of visitors annually, while generating international recognition for Kaduri environmental leadership. Educational support includes scholarships, facility development, and program funding for universities and secondary schools throughout Hong Kong and China. These activities provide opportunities for relationship development with academic leaders, while contributing to educational advancement that benefits regional economic development. Political relationships continue providing competitive advantages while demonstrating the family's ability to maintain influence across different governmental systems and political transitions. Current Chinese leadership recognizes the Kaduri family as valuable partners for Hong Kong's continued prosperity, while international leaders value their insights into Asian business conditions and development opportunities. The relationship management approach emphasizes nonpartisan contribution to economic development and social welfare rather than political advocacy or governmental criticism. This approach enables the family to maintain positive relationships with diverse political authorities while focusing on business development rather than political activities. Recent achievements include advisory roles with Chinese development agencies, participation in international trade missions, and consultation on infrastructure projects that demonstrate continued political influence while contributing to regional economic development. Financial performance across all business sectors demonstrates exceptional return generation that consistently exceeds market benchmarks while providing cash flows that enable continuous expansion without external financing requirements. Annual returns on family investments typically exceed 12 to 15%, while generating sufficient liquidity for new investment opportunities. The integrated structure of Kaduri businesses creates synergistic advantages that enhance performance across all sectors while reducing risks through diversification and mutual support. Infrastructure operations provide stable cash flows that fund expansion in more volatile sectors, while real estate appreciates in value through economic development that benefits from infrastructure investment. Wealth accumulation over 140 years has positioned the Kaduri family among Asia's wealthiest business dynasties while maintaining operational control over businesses that employ over 40,000 people throughout the region. Family wealth is estimated to exceed 12 billion while continuing to grow through business expansion and investment appreciation. Succession planning ensures that family control over strategic operations will continue into future generations while maintaining management expertise and relationship development that sustain competitive advantages. Fourth and fifth generation family members are actively involved in business operations, while receiving education and training that prepares them for leadership responsibilities. The modern legacy represents successful adaptation to changing economic conditions, political transitions, and competitive pressures, while maintaining family unity and strategic direction that enables continued wealth creation and social influence. The Kaduri family has demonstrated that business empires can endure across multiple generations while contributing to economic development and social welfare. Their achievement establishes templates for family business development that combines strategic infrastructure investment, relationship development, and political adaptation while maintaining ethical standards and social responsibility that enhance rather than compromise long-term success. The Kaduri model continues influencing family business strategy throughout Asia and internationally. The Kaduri family's entry into digital infrastructure represents their most ambitious expansion since establishing China Light and Power over a century ago. Understanding that data transmission will become as essential as electricity in the 21st century, the family has systematically invested in telecommunications, data centers, and smart city technologies that position them to control Hong Kong's digital transformation. China Light and Power's fiber optic network now spans over 2,000 kilometers throughout Hong Kong, providing high-speed internet connectivity that serves both residential and commercial customers. This network leverages existing electrical infrastructure while creating new revenue streams that complement traditional power generation. The integration of electrical and digital infrastructure provides competitive advantages that would be impossible for pure telecommunications companies to replicate. The smart grid technology implemented across Hong Kong represents the world's most advanced electrical distribution system, combining traditional power delivery with real-time data analytics, automated load balancing, and predictive maintenance capabilities. These innovations reduce power outages by over 90% while improving energy efficiency by 15 to 20%. More importantly, the smart grid generates massive amounts of data about energy consumption patterns, economic activity, and urban development trends that provide the Kaduri family with unprecedented insights into Hong Kong's economic conditions. This information creates competitive advantages across all their business interests while positioning them to anticipate and capitalize on economic trends before other investors recognize opportunities. Data center operations have become increasingly crucial as Hong Kong serves as the primary gateway for international companies accessing Chinese markets. The Kaduri family's data centers provide secure, reliable infrastructure for financial services, e-commerce platforms, and technology companies that require Hong Kong-based operations for regulatory or commercial reasons. These facilities generate substantial rental income while creating dependency relationships with international technology companies that need Hong Kong operations. Major cloud computing providers, social media platforms, and financial trading systems rely on Kaduri infrastructure for their Asian operations, creating customer relationships that provide both revenue and strategic intelligence. The strategic value extends beyond immediate profits to influence over Hong Kong's role in the global digital economy. By controlling essential digital infrastructure, the Kaduri family helps determine which international companies can operate effectively in Hong Kong while maintaining their position as essential partners for any business requiring Hong Kong-based digital services. Environmental leadership has become increasingly central to Kaduri family strategy as climate change creates both regulatory pressures and business opportunities that will reshape global energy markets. China Light and P's transition to renewable energy sources demonstrates how infrastructure companies can maintain profitability while addressing environmental challenges. The company's solar energy installations across Hong Kong now generate over 200 megawatts of clean electricity, while offshore wind projects provide additional renewable capacity that reduces dependence on fossil fuel imports. These investments required substantial capital expenditures but create long-term cost advantages while enhancing the company's environmental reputation. More strategically, renewable energy investments position China Light and Power to benefit from carbon trading, systems, and environmental regulations that will make clean energy more valuable over time. The company's early adoption of renewable technology provides competitive advantages as environmental compliance becomes mandatory rather than voluntary. The Kaduri Farm and Botanic Garden has evolved into Hong Kong's premier environmental research institution, conducting scientific studies that influence regional environmental policy while demonstrating the family's commitment to environmental stewardship. The facility's research programs focus on biodiversity conservation, sustainable agriculture, and climate change adaptation that provide practical solutions for environmental challenges. But the most sophisticated achievement is integrating environmental leadership with business profitability in ways that create competitive advantages rather than imposing costs. Environmental responsibility enhances customer loyalty, attracts environmentally conscious investors, and provides regulatory advantages that reduce operational risks. Carbon neutrality commitments set across all Kaduri business operations demonstrate how large corporations can address climate change while maintaining profitability and growth. These commitments require systematic changes to energy consumption, transportation, and operational procedures that reduce environmental impact while often improving efficiency and reducing costs. The environmental strategy also includes substantial investments in environmental technology companies that develop solutions for carbon reduction, energy efficiency, and sustainable development. These investments provide financial returns while supporting technological innovations that benefit Kaduri operations and broader environmental objectives. International recognition for environmental leadership has enhanced the Kaduri family's reputation while creating business opportunities with governments and corporations that prioritize environmental responsibility. Environmental awards and certifications provide marketing advantages while demonstrating commitment to sustainable development that appeals to contemporary consumers and investors. The evolution of Kaduri Financial Services into fintech leadership demonstrates how traditional family businesses can embrace technological innovation while maintaining their core competitive advantages. Digital payment systems, blockchain technology, and artificial intelligence are being integrated into existing financial operations in ways that enhance customer service while reducing operational costs. Mobile payment platforms developed through Kaduri financial institutions now serve millions of Hong Kong consumers while processing billions of dollars in transactions annually. These platforms leverage the family's traditional banking relationships while providing convenient digital services that compete effectively with international fintech companies. Blockchain technology implementations have streamlined international trade finance, property transactions, and supply chain management for businesses throughout Hong Kong and southern China. These innovations reduce transaction costs while improving security and transparency that benefits both Kaduri operations and their customers. Artificial intelligence applications in credit analysis, investment management, and customer service enable Kaduri financial institutions to provide personalized services at scale while maintaining the relationship-focused approach that distinguishes them from purely digital competitors. AI enhances rather than replaces human relationship management while improving efficiency and decision-making capabilities. Cryptocurrency and digital asset management services position Kaduri institutions to serve clients who require exposure to digital currencies while maintaining regulatory compliance and risk management standards. These services require sophisticated technical capabilities and regulatory navigation while generating substantial fees from wealthy individuals and institutions. Venture capital investments in fintech startups provide the family with early access to financial innovations while supporting technological development that benefits their broader business interests. Investment decisions emphasize technologies that enhance infrastructure efficiency, improve customer service, or create new business opportunities. The integrated approach to financial innovation ensures that technological adoption enhances rather than disrupts existing customer relationships while creating new revenue streams that complement traditional banking services. Digital innovation is implemented strategically to strengthen competitive advantages rather than merely following technological trends. Reg solutions developed through Kaduri financial institutions help businesses navigate complex regulatory environments while ensuring compliance with international standards. These services are particularly valuable for companies operating across multiple jurisdictions that face diverse regulatory requirements. International real estate investment has become increasingly important as the Kaduri family diversifies their property portfolio beyond Hong Kong while leveraging their development expertise in major cities worldwide. Strategic acquisitions in London, New York, Tokyo, and other global financial centers provide geographic diversification while creating platforms for business expansion. London property investments include premium office developments in the city and Canary Wharf that serve international financial institutions while providing stable rental income denominated in strong currencies. These properties benefit from London's role as a global financial center while providing the family with direct exposure to European markets. New York real estate holdings focus on Manhattan commercial properties that serve the financial, services, and technology sectors while appreciating through urban development and economic growth. The properties provide rental income while creating opportunities for relationship development with American business leaders and financial institutions. Tokyo investments emphasize mixed-use developments that combine residential, commercial, and hospitality components in integrated complexes that serve Japan's evolving urban requirements. These projects require navigation of complex Japanese regulatory environments while providing exposure to one of Asia's most sophisticated property markets. European expansion includes developments in Paris, Geneva, and other major cities that serve the international business community while providing portfolio diversification across multiple currencies and economic systems. Each property is positioned to benefit from local economic growth while serving international tenants who require premium facilities. The development strategy emphasizes properties that benefit from infrastructure improvements, urban planning decisions, and economic development that increase values over time rather than focusing on immediate rental yields. Long-term capital appreciation is prioritized over short-term cash flow generation. Property management services have been expanded to provide comprehensive building management, tenant services, and facility maintenance that enhance property values while generating additional revenue streams. These services create competitive advantages while building relationships with tenants that influence future leasing decisions. Sustainable development practices are implemented across all new projects, while existing properties are upgraded to meet contemporary environmental standards. Green building certifications enhance property values while reducing operational costs and attracting environmentally conscious tenants. Real estate investment trusts, REITs, and property funds enable the family to access international property markets while providing liquidity and professional management that complement direct property ownership. These investments provide geographic and sector diversification while maintaining focus on premium properties in major cities. Healthcare investment represents the Kaduri family's newest business sector, reflecting recognition that medical technology and biotechnology will create unprecedented business opportunities while addressing global health challenges that affect billions of people. Medical facility development includes hospitals and specialized treatment centers that serve Hong Kong's aging population while attracting medical tourism from mainland China and throughout Asia. These facilities provide healthcare services while generating substantial returns through premium medical care that isn't available in other regional locations. Biotechnology investments focus on companies developing treatments for diseases that predominantly affect Asian populations while creating intellectual property that can be commercialized globally. These investments provide exposure to high-growth sectors while supporting medical research that benefits regional health outcomes. Pharmaceutical research partnerships with universities and research institutions enable the family to support drug development while gaining early access to medical innovations that create investment opportunities. These partnerships provide both philanthropic impact and commercial returns through successful drug development. Medical technology investments emphasize devices and systems that improve healthcare delivery while reducing costs through automation, artificial intelligence, and telemedicine capabilities. These technologies address healthcare challenges while creating business opportunities in rapidly growing markets. Hagging care facilities represent a significant growth opportunity as Hong Kong's population ages. While family structures change in ways that increase demand for professional elderly care services, these facilities provide essential social services while generating stable revenue streams through demographic trends. Digital health platforms developed through Kaduri investments provide telemedicine, health monitoring, and medical record management services that improve healthcare access while reducing costs. These platforms leverage Hong Kong's advanced telecommunications infrastructure while serving patients throughout Asia. Preventive medicine and wellness services address growing consumer demand for health optimization while creating business opportunities that complement traditional medical treatment. These services include nutrition counseling, fitness programs, and health monitoring that appeal to affluent consumers throughout Asia. International healthcare partnerships enable the family to access medical innovations developed in other countries while providing platforms for expanding Asian healthcare businesses to global markets. These partnerships facilitate technology transfer while creating business development opportunities. The transition to fifth-generation family leadership represents the most sophisticated succession planning process in the Kaduri family's history, incorporating contemporary management practices while maintaining family control and strategic continuity that enables sustained competitive advantages. Leadership development programs provide family members with comprehensive business education, international experience, and mentorship relationships that prepare them for executive responsibilities across diverse business sectors. These programs ensure that family leadership maintains the expertise and relationship skills that distinguish Kaduri operations. Governance structures separate family ownership from professional management while maintaining family control over strategic decisions and long-term planning. Board compositions include independent directors who provide expertise and oversight, while family members retain voting control and strategic direction authority. Wealth preservation strategies ensure that family assets remain consolidated and productive while providing individual family members with financial security and independence. Trust structures and family offices manage investments while maintaining tax efficiency and asset protection across multiple jurisdictions. Educational investments in family member development include university education, professional training, and cultural experiences that prepare younger generations for leadership responsibilities, while maintaining family unity and shared values that enable collaborative decision-making. Philanthropy integration ensures that family business success contributes to social welfare while building relationships and reputation that enhance commercial operations. Charitable activities provide meaningful engagement for family members while creating positive community impact. Cultural preservation maintains family traditions and values while adapting to contemporary business environments and social expectations. Language instruction, cultural education, and historical awareness ensure that family identity remains strong across generational change. Conflict resolution mechanisms address potential disagreements about business strategy, asset allocation, and family governance, while maintaining family unity and preventing disputes that might compromise business operations.